Christian Horner is arguably one of the most polarizing figures in Formula One today. Some respect him for his competitive tenacity, and others hate him for the very same reason. But one thing is certain, Christian has played a pivotal role in bringing Red Bull back to the top of the standings. But with that comes the responsibility of facing the media whenever things don't go so well for the team. And today we have just that, as Christian has recently revealed what truly happened in Brazil, and once and for all give us the lowdown on the chances of Daniel Ricciardo taking over Checo's seat. So if any of these interest you, grab your favorite snack and let's get started. Daniel Ricciardo's best days in F1 was spent with the Milton Keynes team. So when news broke that he will be returning to where it all started for him, his fans all went into a frenzy, starting discussions about the likelihood that he will one day be at the helm of a Red Bull car. While this may sound like the ideal plotline, Horner would clear the air and say, well, we were surprised to see Daniel out on the open market. So, for us having grown up with Red Bull, having nurtured him since being a junior, it made sense for us to bring him back into the fold, a driver with so much experience and such a high profile. I think that Daniel had fallen out of love a little bit with Formula One. He's had a couple of really tough seasons, particularly last year. For him to play a supporting role to the race drivers, as our third driver, both back here in the factory and at events with all the commercial partners we have, as one of the most recognizable faces currently in and around Formula One, for us it made a lot of sense. He continued, and I hope in the process, Daniel will rediscover his passion for Formula One, but we certainly have no plans to utilize him other than in that third driver role, to combine with the commercial activities that he will be performing. Horner would also lay out what Ricciardo will exactly be doing in 2023, and if fans will be able to see the honey badger around the paddock. Daniel will be attending some races, said Horner. Obviously, he will be our reserve driver for those events. He will probably be doing some tire testing for us, to help out with the Pirelli program that gets distributed around the teams. He will be doing some work in the simulator, so he will be doing more of those activities. And then of course with the commercial demands that we have from the myriad of sponsors and partners that we have, particularly with a much bigger presence in the US, where Daniel is now predominantly based, with 3 Grand Prix there next year, he is going to have a busy agenda for the season ahead. While this may sound like Daniel's stay at Red Bull is a dead end, we must all remember that Checo and his relationship with the team may forever be scorned after what happened in Interlagos. To refresh everyone's memory, Red Bull was aiming for a 1-2 finish in the Drivers' Championship at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. At the time, Max Verstappen had already won his second driver's title in a row, and Red Bull had won the constructor's title as well. So to make the season even sweeter for them, the team was aiming for Checo to finish second in the driver's standings. But things did not go according to plan, and the team ended up in the news for all the wrong reasons, and quite possibly when Checo and Max officially ruined their relationship. During the final laps of the race, Perez was in 6th with his main competitors for the second spot in the driver's standings ahead of him. So to counter, Red Bull had asked Checo to let Max pass him to make a move on the others to help Checo's chances, promising that he would be given the position back if Max failed to do so. But when Max couldn't and was ordered to give the position back, Max went dark up until the finish line where he would say, "I told you already last summer. You guys don't ask that again to me, okay? Are we clear about that? I gave my reasons, and I stand by it." Some people speculated that Verstappen's comment may have been related to the Monaco race, where Perez's crash in qualifying led him to starting ahead of Max on the grid, which resulted in Perez winning the Monaco Grand Prix. However, Horner stated that this was not the case, and that Verstappen's refusal was just a miscommunication. I think the root cause of the problem was we had never envisaged being in a situation, being in the final few laps, being in 6th and 7th place in that Grand Prix, he said as per the official F1 website. And I think it was something that, as we hadn't envisaged it, we hadn't discussed it before the race, and I think that was a mistake on our part, that we should have thought through or tried to think through every single scenario. And so, I think that was a mistake as a team that we didn't discuss it and come up with a very clear plan. Obviously, it was very unfortunate what happened, but it was quickly discussed openly and transparently, and both drivers were very clear, open, and honest with each other. And from that as a team, we move on, and the dynamic between the drivers is absolutely fine. Checo on the other hand obviously was pissed after the incident and was heard on the team radio saying, "He shows who he really is. Perez later expanded on his comment to Sky Sports Television. "I was told to let him by, that I was going to get back the position. Maybe you should ask him about it. After all I've done for him, it's a bit disappointing. I am really surprised." But even with the two saying some feisty things about one another, Horner would say that the incident taught the team some valuable lessons. "I think we've made some mistakes in Brazil. We've learned from that, and as I say, we move on. We've done some amazing things," added Horner. These two drivers have performed incredibly well together. They're the reason that we're in the position that we are. Max's season was on another planet last year, so we're not going to let the events of a couple of laps in Brazil dictate the year for us. But even with the incident already a few months back, and both drivers have acknowledged that they have moved on from the incident, Checo's father Antonio has come out of the woodworks and said, "I tell you that the best of Checo Perez, we have not seen it yet. He has much more to give, and surely with the passage of time, Mexico will have an F1 champion in the hands of Checo Perez." So what do you guys make out of all of this? Did Daniel sign into a dead-end role with Red Bull? Has Max and Checo officially moved on from what happened in Interlagos? And will Checo be a legitimate threat to Max this time around? Let's talk about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel while you're at it.